Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here. We're going to do the numerology and Kabbalah of the month of November. So we're going to get started, and let me share my screen with you. So we are looking at the astrology and Kabbalah of November 2021. We're going to be doing the numerology and the Kabbalah part of this presentation. And then we will get to the astrology in a separate video. Otherwise, this may be too long. So this is the image that I decided to choose for November. And you will see why as we move forward. So let's look at the numerology of November. First of all, we look first to the monthly vibration, right? So this month, November is the 11th month, making it an 11 vibration. And 11 is a master number. The 11 is known as the spiritual light messenger. Spiritual light messenger. Now, 11 as a master number is a challenging energy to hold. Balance is very challenging, especially when we find ourselves in such imbalanced times, but it's very important that we do that. So it says here, the number 11 carries a vibrational frequency of balance, as well as represents male and female equally. Or equality, excuse me. Consequently, the number 11 in our lives often signals us to be aware of our balance. Balance our emotions, our thoughts, a balance in spirit, and a balance of the masculine and the feminine aspects. Now, of course, the masculine aspect, the yang force, energy moving out, is our more sort of proactive, may I say, aggressive side, right? And then the feminine side is much more about drawing in experiences. It's magnetic. There's a magnetic attraction to the feminine side. Yin is energy moving in. And so that is more connected to our feelings, right? What are we feeling, right? What are we bringing in? And there needs to be a balance between those two things. So if you're spending too much time in your head, mentally trying to figure out what's going on, or you're completely in your emotional body trying to figure out what's going on, we're not going to be able to figure anything out. So it requires us to really find that point within ourselves. And for me, one of the greatest ways of sort of calming myself down is through breath. And of course, 11 would be the one, breath in, 2, breath out. And so you'll find yourself doing a lot of breathing like that, if you're smart, this November. So the next number we're going to look at is the universal year vibration. We've looked at this every month since January, because 2001 is a 5 vibration, and 5 is a number of freedom and change. 5 is also known as a dynamic force. The number 5 is the most dynamic and energetic of all the single-digit numbers. It is unpredictable, always in motion, and constantly in need of change. And so for those of you who thought that after 2020, things would calm down, no. In fact, 2020, the 4 vibration, is a crisis and opportunity vibration. The 5 is change and freedom. And 2022, the 6 vibration, is about responsibility and community. And so that is a different energy, a different vibration found in a different place on the tree of life. The 5s are all found in Geburah, and Geburah is the Sephiroth associated with the planet Mars. And so Mars is an active force in a 5 year. for sure. It's an active force any year, but in a 5-year especially. The thing with Kabbalah is that it is the place of instant karma. So everything that you do will have a pretty immediate effect. So that includes, bad things and good things. So I say do the good things, right? Because you will be rewarded. So there is an unpredictability to this year, which of course we can definitely see. And that unpredictability will be stimulated this month as well. So, and then we have to add the 2 vibrations together, the 11 of the month and the 5 of the universal year. And when we do that, we get the 16-7 vibration. 1 is the primal force, 6 is the mother force, and 7 is the number of humanity's deep inner need to find depth, meaning, and spiritual connection. 7 is really an analysis. 7 asks why. This particular 7, the 16-7, requires us to be authentically who we are. We're often reminded of who we are in a 7 vibration. And because the 7 is 16-7, sometimes those reminders can be somewhat harsh. When creature needs food, self-expression, material and domestic achievements have been met, we turn to a deeper level of life to learn, to educate ourselves, and to find purpose. Now, what's interesting about this particular, just this phrase that I selected to describe this, is that our creature needs food, self-expression, material, and domestic achievements. For many people, that's not there for them. And there are many of us who have those things in our lives. By the grace of God, go I, as I say. And so we have the ability to sort of move in that spiritual direction. But for those people who don't have those things, we can't really expect them to, have the spiritual insights. When you are hungry, it's really hard to think about your place in the universe. You're just trying to eat, or if you don't have medicine, or if you don't have a home, right? So all of this is things that we need to also take into consideration. For those of us who are lucky enough to have homes, and for those of us who are lucky enough to have the opportunity to really sort of try to figure out our life purpose. And so I think there's also a need here, and this is my own thing, of course, is to, when you see somebody struggling, if you can help them, the need to help them. Of course, that's going to be more of a theme when we get into 2022. We're in that 6 vibration. But it is a consideration. It is a consideration. So let's take a look at the tarot correspondences with these vibrations. Of course, the 11 is the Justice card. In most decks, sometimes the 11 is the Strength card and the 8 is the Justice card. Either way, the energy of as you sow, so shall you reap is seen. And here we have Lady Justice, who, as you can see, is not blind. This is not man's justice. This is universal justice. As you sow, so shall you reap. This is the path on the tree of life we're talking about, mediates between Kabbalah, the universal principle of destruction, the destroyer, and Tipurah, the spiritual love and beauty manifested on the earth plane. This is called by Kabbalists the faithful intelligence, and that is the faith that all in life tends towards balance and wholeness. And so even when we find ourselves in these extreme conditions, the extremity, one extremity creates the other extremity, right? As a balancing force, as a homeostasis. And the closer we can come to the middle, the less of the, it's just like a seesaw, right? If you're closer to the middle, the swings up and down are less. If you're on the end, the swings are like this, right? And so we try to keep balance. The easiest way to keep balance is to move to the center, right? To move to the center, which is really what the 11 requires us to do, is to sort of be in poise in the center with awareness of both sides of a situation. And so it's important at this time to foster that sense of seeing both sides of the situation. Even if you totally disagree with somebody, it's important to see their side of the story. You don't have to agree, you don't have to go along with it, but you at least have to consider it. And I think consideration and being considerate goes a long way. So this particular card, tarot card, is associated with the sign of Libra, of course, the scales, right? And Mercury is actually in Libra from November 1st to November 6th. So we have a little bit of time with Mercury in Libra. Now, of course, Mercury has been in Libra for a long time because it had its retrograde cycle. So even though Mercury is in Libra for a small amount of time in November, everything that we have sort of has been brought to our attention through the retrograde cycle is there, and is there for us to apply and to learn from and to utilize. So while it's a small amount of time, it's a big package of relating, thinking in a Libra manner, right? So one of the reasons why it's important to stay balanced. Interestingly enough, on the 4th, we have a new moon in Scorpio. And so the Mercury in Libra, which is very powerful new moon, which is why I bring it up, we still have that Libra energy as we start that new cycle, that new synodic cycle or new lunation cycle between the sun and the moon. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm back. I had to answer that phone. Okay. So 5, right? The tarot correspondence 5, and we've done this every month, so it's always worth repeating, is the Hierophant card. And of course, the Hierophant is associated with wisdom traditions, right? It's a traditional card, often associated with like the church, as it were, or if you're doing a political reading, the Constitution, right? So how things are put together, how things are held together, the energy that holds everything together, which of course we know to be love. But this card mediates on the path between Hokmah, the eternal father principle, and Hesed, the universal principle of production. It is called the triumphant intelligent. It is accessible to the inner self, accessible to the inner self. Its essence is the connection with the one eternal light, the voice in the inner ear, which tells the nature of the substance which bonds together the pieces of the fabric of existence. It is associated with the sign of Taurus. And of course, as we know, Uranus is in Taurus and is quite active this month, as Mars will make an opposition to Uranus in Taurus. I believe it's on the 17th. So that will be an interesting and active day, among many active days this month. And we also have a full moon in Taurus, and it happens to be a lunar eclipse, which is also very powerful, very, very powerful. The lunations this month are very powerful, and you can I'm going to be going over the astrology of those in detail in my next video. But if you want to see like an overview and just see the new moon and the full moon, I do have that a video for that. I think if I can, I'll put it in the description below, so in case you missed that one. So a lot of energy with this 5 vibration this month as well, all year, but and then of course the 16-7, which is the Tower card. Incidentally, the United States of America is in a 16-7 personal year. So this is a Tower year for the US. And we can see this expressed here with the lightning struck tower in November. So November promises to be somewhat of a watershed time for the US, especially because it's in that vibration. So the lightning struck tower mediates between Netzach, the realm of emotions and personality, and Hod, the thinking mind, The intelligence is called the activating intelligence by Kabbalists, where we have flashes of insight. So expect a lot of those, oh my God, like those. There'll be plenty of those this month. The essence is transformation through the destruction of outgrown forms. So that being said, if there is something in your life that no longer serves you, that you have outgrown, it is time to let it go, or it can be torn asunder from you. So you have the choice. You always have the choice. This is kind of a good thing to be proactive with. So you can start, releasing things if you like, so that when the big release comes, you'll have less work, less cleanup. Of course, this particular card is associated with the planet Mars, and Mars is in Scorpio, which is a very powerful position for Mars. Through the entire month of November. In fact, it moved into Scorpio at the end of October 30th. After quite a journey through Libra, which it wasn't particularly comfortable in. Mars doesn't really like Libra, but now that it's in Scorpio, it is going to do its work. And Mars in Scorpio can be a very powerful healer, but it can also be a dangerous combination. In the hands, so to speak, I guess not in the hands, in the heart of those who are not connected to their heart. So you need to be aware of that as well. Mars will be felt most intensely as it reactivates the Saturn-Uranus square by squaring Saturn on the 10th and shortly thereafter opposing Uranus on the 17th. In fact, during November, the Saturn-Uranus square is going to get closer by 3 degrees to each other. And this Saturn-Uranus square has been the story of 2021. It is a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. It is a natural time for us to be questioning authority. That's happening at the same time as we have a Pluto-Eris square, which is doing the same thing. So this really is a breakdown, a whole sort of breakdown of trusting authority and starting to trust ourselves. Now, in order to trust ourselves, we have to be poised and we have to be balanced. So, because when you come from a place of imbalance with these things, you will often make decisions. Well, you eventually learn the balance, but it can be painful. So let's look at the chakras that are activated at this time through these vibrations. So the 11 vibration mediates between Gabura and Tiphareth, activating the throat and the heart chakras. And if we look over here, here is Gabura right here. And this is the path of the 11, right? The justice card, cosmic justice. And here is Tiphareth, which is the heart. So we have the throat and the heart activated through the 11 vibration. So it is important that we speak from our heart. It is also, this vibration deals with, Gabura is cutting things away. And it can be harsh and it can feel harsh. People who have Gabura in their chart prominently, especially if it's a soul vibration or a quiescent vibration, something that they come in this lifetime already with some experience, which is usually seen in the name, in somebody's name, as opposed to somebody's date of birth. But one of the things that people who have a prominent Gabura will often find that people can find them harsh because they don't pull any punches. They see what needs to be done. They know what needs to be done, and they're not afraid to say it. Of course, they have to say it non-judgmentally and without malice, because Gabura is a place of instant karma. And so if anybody's going to get hit by their own malice, it's going to be people who already have something in Gabura. So be aware of that if you happen to be one of those people. But it is a cutting away, but it's a cutting away to bring balance to a situation. Balance to a situation. The 5 vibration mediates between Hokmah and Hesed, and that is found right here. Here's Hokmah. And here is the Hierophant right here. This is the path of the Hierophant. And this is Hesed. This is connecting the third eye with the throat chakra. So what you see and what you say is very important this year. It's a year vibration. And remember, the planet Uranus right now is sitting on this place right here. Uranus is in Taurus, so Uranus sits here. And it connects Uranus with Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion. Uranus is revolution. And so this is an expansion of revolution, a revolutionary expansion, and an expansion of consciousness. Because look at the chakras being activated here. Our 5th chakra, our 6th chakra. Our 5th chakra is where the divine speaks through us. It's a place of divine will. Thine will be done. When Mary says that, she's speaking of that particular thing. And then, of course, the illumination of the third eye. What are we seeing? Right? It's not your imagination. You're not seeing things for the most part. And then the 16-7 vibration mediates between Hod and Nexat, activating the solar plexus. So here we have Hod, here we have Netzach, and this is the path of the tower right here. It is completely located in the 3rd chakra, and the 3rd chakra, of course, is our personal will. But that personal will must be informed through our 3rd eye, which is where we see things, our throat chakra, from which divine will can work through us. Let's take a look at the chakras here, and I'll get a little bit further on that. So the throat chakra is called, the Sanskrit word is Vishuddha, meaning purification. It is the right to speak, the right to speak. Divine will express through this chakra. It is creative self-expression, finding your voice, speaking your truth, and the element associated with this chakra is sound. And we create through vibration. And so the things that come out of our mouth do have influence in our lives. And so we do need to be mindful about what we're saying. The heart chakra, called Anahata, meaning unstruck. Unstruck in that in order to make a sound here on planet Earth, you must strike 2 things together, right? You want to clap, you want to speak, the air goes over your vocal cords. That's how we create the vibration of speech, right? But Anahata is the sound that comes from being unstruck. There's nothing hits anything. It is the perhaps the Big Bang, and that Big Bang, that expression. In the beginning, there was the word, and that vibration of creation, which we can connect with when we ohm. So the heart chakra is issues of love and compassion, relationship, children, the right to be loved and to love, and the element of air. In all situations, love is the choice. In all situations, love is the answer. Love does not necessarily mean that the person has to be in your life every day giving you stress. It means that, you know, you can send people off with love if the relationship is one of those things that you need to um, break because it no longer serves your growth. You're past that. I no longer have to experience this blank, blank, blank in relationship. Um, it doesn't mean you don't love them. Um, it just means that you don't need to have them in your life every day. So love is not necessarily being a doormat for anybody. Love applies to yourself as well. So it's love of self, love of others. And there's a thought that if you can't love yourself, then you can't love others. I think that in order for love to be a balanced experience, you must do both. You must do both. And sometimes it's easier to love others. Sometimes it's easier to love yourself. Um, and I think judgment can create issues because judgment is a mental thing and love is not. Love is, and love will always, the heart will always tell you the truth. How does it feel in your heart? And some people don't even access that part of themselves. They just haven't had the opportunity. They haven't been taught. They opened their heart once and they got destroyed, and then they won't open their heart again. But it's always best to come from a heart-centered place, always, in all situations. Um, Assuming that you're not in a dangerous position. You do have to, fear has its place. And one of the things that we will be experiencing this month is quite a bit of fear because we're activating the solar plexus. So we'll get to the solar plexus shortly. So the third eye chakra, Anja, which means to perceive or to command, which is interesting. It is our psychic ability. It is pattern recognition, intuition. It is our right to see, and the element associated with Anja is light, light, photons, baby. When I would adjust patients, I had my first office had they were small rooms, you can't have a big room, with the table, and the chair and for the patient to come in. And there would be times when I would adjust them and all of a sudden the room would get lighter. You express photons when you adjust people. So this kind of reminds me of that element of light. And then the solar plexus. This is where the 16-7 vibration sits, right? The tower card, right? Are we fearful? You know? Manipura, the Sanskrit name for the solar plexus means lustrous gem. Lustrous gem. It's the idea that spirit can work through your personal will, and manifest what it needs to manifest on the earth, because we are in part of spirit and a tool of spirit, so to speak. And our bodies are the vessels or the cars that we're given to sort of tool around this lifetime to accomplish that which spirit wants to accomplish, or what spirit wants to experience. So these are issues of self-worth and self-esteem, the solar plexus, autonomy, the rights to yourself, the right to be the captain of your own ship, to direct your life in the direction that you want. And yet it also requires us to be open to spirit. I mean, you can take this energy of the solar plexus and just run rampant in the physical world, without consideration of the higher realms. But you will pay, because there is cause and effect. So there is a certain amount of accountability that will happen if you misuse this power. This is the right to do. This is your personal will, and this is the element of fire. So this is a transformational energy, transformational energy with Manipura. So those are the chakras associated with this month. So you will need to have clear sight. You will need to be mindful about the words that you use. You need to come from your heart and act from your solar plexus, as it is a lustrous gem that reflects the light of spirit. So that is what I want to say about this month. And as I said, we will have the astrology up a little later today. So I'm going to stop this share. I'm in the light now, actually. Hold on. Although I kind of like it, but it's hard to see. Oops. Okay, wrong direction. Ooh, there I am. Okay. She's in the light. She's glowing. I like that. I'm glowing. All right. Yeah, that's good. All right, guys. Have yourself a great month. Like, subscribe. If you're interested in the Kabbalah and you would like to have your own Kabbalistic life reading, we work with the numbers, we work with the tree of life, and of course, with your own unique astrological profile. Have yourself a great month. Much love, everyone. Namaste.